Okay, so this is going to be fairly short. I bought a hose for my Aerus Platinum. This is actually the second one I've had. I've done the airflow test on it, but I did that when I was still just doing it via photo rather than video. I sold my first one to a fellow collector who is now a good friend of mine, and now this one popped up and it was just the body. And it was a good price, and I figured, well, eventually a hose will pop up. Well, a hose did pop up, the standard Aerus one on the right. But then, doing some reading on the Vacuumland web forum, I read that the Sauber hoses, which this is a Sauber in Luxe clothing, would be compatible with these. Now, I know they made two different versions of this hose. There is this one, which was for the commercial, I want to say SCP-9000 or something like that. But this is the commercial hose, and like the Aerus hose, it's very simple, just a 2-wire for the power nozzle control. And there was another one made for the domestic versions of them, which had a power like control, or a speed control rather, on the hose. But I figured, since this machine is set up only to have the power nozzle connection on the front here, or I don't know, maybe that third hole would be for the speed control on the hose, but I wasn't gonna go for the other hose just because, I don't know if I would have to further modify this thing to work with it or not, but it fits. Hard to put this on one-handed, but it does fit. And the purpose of this video is to compare the airflow at the end of these two different hoses, because that was a concern brought up by my friend, is that this being a longer hose and made of a different material, it may be a little bit more restrictive. So let's take a look at that. It's also worth noting that, I haven't changed the bag out in this thing. The pre-motor filter excuse me. It looks fine, but I haven't replaced it. But this isn't about the maximum machine performance. This is just about the hoses and the difference in power between them. So here we are at the end of the Aerus hose. Alright, so just to note this is a weird size. It's not 1 1/4 inches because it's too big to be 1 1/4 inches, but it's also not 1 inch and 3/8 or 35 millimeter like a European machine would be. It's just slightly, oh sure, well, there's really no connection here. So it's like it's a 33 or 34 millimeter connection. Really strange. But just to make sure we get a connection here, we'll tape that on. Alright, so it doesn't appear we've lost any power. And we've gained about maybe a foot of reach. Oh, we went up a little bit. And a little more. Huh. Okay. Well, it's not too significant, but little bit of performance increase with longer length.